What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. And this week, I hate to do 2 weeks in a row, essentially, of Kool-Aid only special for this first part. I do apologize for that, but this week is actually a very important week for the channel. This week is our anniversary of having been, as far as having done podcasts and having actually been on YouTube for a whole year at this point. I think the actual date that we posted the first podcast was this coming up Wednesday, but I figured, well, this is going up Tuesday, so whatever. Anyway, a couple things obviously to get out of the way beforehand. As usual, announcements and stuff and whatnot. Basically, I'm going to do kind of a normal little section at the beginning of this as far as updates, a few words I wanted to say, and a few things I wanted to kind of throw out there. That's not going to be too terribly long. And then the second half of this is actually going to be a recording that we had done before the first ever podcast that we had ever done. Was the where we sat down and tried to come up with the name for the channel. A couple things for that. One, it was also recorded on a phone, like we did with all of our very early podcasts, and it's gonna be quieter. I do apologize for the audio quality for the second half, as far as like being quieter than normal. That is solely because that was literally the first recording we'd ever done, and we hadn't tested out really beforehand. It was just like, let's just do this, see how it sounds. But that's what that's going to be as far as like after the main portion of this is out of the way. Just us, how we came up with the channel, how we came up with a name for the channel. Bleh. Can't talk straight today. Blame sinuses for that. Anywho, let's see. Last week I had discussed as far as like my views on as far as like overly competitive players and whatnot. One of the things, actually, the reason that had got brought up was something that happened where a dude got got a game loss for something that had occurred. I wanted to reiterate on that for just a second, as well as correct something I misspoke. I thought it was because of one situation, when it was a different version of that situation, where I thought it was where I was going based off what I was told at the time. I do apologize for giving the incorrect information on this, but once again, I was in a parking lot in Florida recording that, pacing back and forth, recording that on my phone at the time. So admittedly, also, I ended up having to upload that podcast over Denny's Wi-Fi. So it wasn't exactly the most secure internet in the world. It was still pretty decent. Just saying, Denny's is very delicious. We are not endorsed. Anyway, where I thought it was where the dude had basically forgotten to say that he was doing an effect or whatever, and got the judge called on him. That was incorrect. That was wrong on my part. The actual situation for that was the guy triggered a book trigger, and before actually drawing, he went ahead and placed the trigger, the climax, in his stock first, and then he drew. That is what I have been told was the actual situation that occurred. So I wasn't there. Take this with a grain of salt. So while I apologize for my misinformation on that, I do not in any way, shape, or form change what I said. As far as my opinion on it, it's still a douche move. You could have just said on the trigger. Admittedly, that was a little bit of... But basically, the ruling behind that was before you place it in the stock, you have to draw, essentially. Because it's while it's being triggered, before it goes to the stock type thing. To my understanding, is how this went. If I am wrong, I apologize. I've been wrong many times on this podcast series before. This is nothing new, if anyone's kept with us for this long. So, And basically, the end up thing was he called the judge because the opponent, where it was a mistiming thing, where the guy had placed it into his stock first. Basically, by doing that, you essentially state that you forfeit your draw off that book trigger. So he just was basically, to my understanding, the dude just was like, oh, okay, it's a book trigger. I'll just go ahead and place this over there and then draw my card. That's not how it's supposed to be done. But that's whatever to me. That is such a minuscule thing that I still feel that the other dude who called the judge on him on that is a fucking douche. I'm not going to change my statement on that. I admit I didn't go in with all the information, but the situation, regardless of what information I stated, regardless of the situation, even if there had been, even if it wasn't a book trigger, if it was something else that occurred, a pants trigger, where it's like, oh, well, I'm going to, that you can add back climaxes, even if it was a completely different card effect of that nature as far as the trigger thing, I still feel that the dude that called judge is still a fucking douche. That's a dick move. It's like, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm holding on to all these cards. Let me go ahead and place this here, and then go ahead and draw and add the card to my hand while my hands are free up, type thing. Well, you're just supposed to set your whole. I mean, at this point, it's like you need to like set your whole hand down, and then go to proceed to trigger. Oh, look, still hold on to this. See that I'm doing a draw trigger effect. Place this into my hand that's currently on the table, and then proceed to do type thing. That's probably what I'm going to have to end up doing if that's the nature of this. So, anyway, regardless of whatever the situation ended up being, if that is still the criteria in which it occurred, I stand by what I said. That type of person just is overtly you win Weiss Schwarz. You win a game of Weiss Schwarz by getting your opponent to level 4. In nowhere, shape, or form does it state, when I'm trying to teach someone new how to play, if someone were to ask me, hey, how do you what do you have to do to win? As far as when you play a game, what do you have to do to win? I'm not going to look at them and go, oh, call your opponent out on doing card effects wrong or timing wrong and call the judge on them. That's how you win. No, that's not how you fucking win. I'm sorry. If you think your opponent is cheating, that's one thing. But if the dude was just like, I'm just going to go ahead and set this over here and then continue the effect. No, that's a try hard. That person was attempting a little too hard, in my opinion. I realized I stated I wasn't going to talk too terribly much on this, and I ended up ranting for a few minutes. So let me continue. To summarize, that's supposedly what the situation was. I still stand by what I said before. It's unnecessary, guys. We're adults, I think. I know I am. Anyway, continuing on, a couple other packs have actually been announced. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember all the packs that were announced. As far as I know, I stated Ordinal Scale was. I noticed also we do not have a pack currently listed in English for the month of October. So here's hoping to Persona 5 coming out in October. That'd be really awesome if it did. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you know, that'd be really cool. It's just we have a month free as far as like at the end of this week, the 29th, supposedly is when the next AOT set comes out, to which we'll be trying to continue after I finish up Kimono Friends as far as the set discussion with Waifu Wars and Pay 3 for Hanyo. We're going to try to go ahead and do some talking about AOT, and I'll probably try to go over some of that as well. I don't know, I might try to do a solo podcast on that. I don't know at this point. But that'll be coming out. October is freed up. November we get Excel World Infinite Burst, and December is SAO Ordinal Scale. So I'm really, really hoping that P5 drops in October. I'm not going to lie. I really, really want that to come out. And I know a whole bunch of other people do as well. It's just really aggravating when this kind of stuff happens after. I haven't done this personally, but a lot of people do pre-order stuff and go ahead and like order cases or boxes upon cases of product at a time, and it's like, this is whatever the situation was, whatever happened, this is still aggravating from a customer perspective. Yeah. So hopefully that comes out soon. Let's see. As far as other sets, I can't think of anything immediately right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up a website just to be on the safe side, because I could be completely totally wrong. Hina Logic is one of the Luck and Logic spin-offs as far as the anime. As far as because there was one season of it as far as the main characters for that, and they didn't oh my goodness, what was it? They didn't put anything off of that season. They did another spin-off season with different characters. And that's we're getting an extra booster for Hina for the Hina Luck and Logic. There was another Love Live Sunshine Trial Deck Plus got confirmed. Oh wow, okay. Ordinal Scale is actually coming out in Japan on October in Japan. We're not getting it until December, but that means I'll be able to go ahead and be looking over the cards when it comes out. So that's really, really cool. So I'll be definitely glad to see that. Symphogear came out earlier this month, last week actually, and I actually haven't gone over that. I actually liked the anime for Symphogear, and that was really cool. So that's actually already out in JP, so I might end up trying to take a look at that. That might be really cool. Anywho, as far as all that, getting to the bread and butter of this, I'm just going to try to wrap this up fairly quickly, and then I can go ahead and y'all can listen to me, Kyle, and Tim mess around for a while and try to come up with a decent name, or y'all can see like kind of what led to the name Base Damage. Anyway, I do want to give a bit of thanks, just take a minute for thanking everyone who has been with us. Been with us this long. Thank you to my computer for holding up as long as it has, doing all this shenanigans. To all the other channels that have collaborated with us, Waifu Wars, Paythrough for Hanyo, a super huge thanks to Earl Grey from Tier 1 TCG for the insane amount of help and just so much as far as what he did when we were just starting very, very early on. And even to this day has still, helped us and whatnot, and it's just really, really fucking awesome. I cannot give my gratitude enough for that, dude. To anyone who's ever collaborated with us, as far as letting me interview them, and to anyone in the future who ever wants to, or who I ever get to interview or whatever, as far as regionals or whatever. We're going to try to do some more of that sometime soon, as long as I can get up with people. See if we can do that. And I cannot thank everyone enough. Like, we are not monetized. I'm not getting paid for any of this. None of us are. The only money I'm kind of sort of making is the stuff we're selling off of the TCG Player account, and that solely is going back into the channel. Like, whatever money I make off of selling cards for that is going right back into buying equipment, other cards to complete decks and whatnot, as far as going back into stuff pertaining to the channel. So that's other than that, I'm not making personal money off of this. Like, there's not that, but so much money to be made as far as YouTube's concerned to me anymore personally, because they're going through all the ad revenue bullshit. That's whatever. Ad revenue, can't talk. Other than that, I just want to say thank y'all once again. I can't reiterate it enough. It's been a whole year, and I'm hoping to continue on. I'm hoping that another year from now, I'll be able to go, thank you again. I don't expect really to get too terribly many more subscribers. We're about at 250, which is really low, like compared to like so many other big name YouTube channels. That's whatever. I don't expect to get too terribly much past that. If we do, awesome. If not, it's still awesome to me. I don't care. I'm just doing this because I enjoy it. With that, I'm gonna close out for this first part, and we'll start the second part in just a second here, ending it with a quote from the late Monty Ohm. It's something he said many, many times, and it simply is, keep moving forward. Thank y'all very much. Super awesome transition screen. Okay, so it's recording now. We're just going to randomly talk about Shizen for whatever.
However long this video goes.
However long this video goes.
Or audio, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's audio. It's whatever. Okay. So, trying to come up with names for the podcast in general. You seem to already have something you want to throw in, sir.
Funny picture. Aerial Weiss, Diglett.
Wait, what?
Diglett with muscles? Oh yeah, that's me.
What?
Yes, that was one of the...
That is great.
Bruh.
Diglett learned aerial ace. Watch out for your plug right there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't...
We've looked up some stuff. Me and Tim were actually like Googling various ideas because, as far as there's actually a Gigi No Re podcast.
God dang it!
I know. I would have gone with that so much. What else did we look up?
Clock and Draw.
Clock and Draw.
RTFC podcast.
There's already an RTFC. Okay, that one I actually can.
It's an MTG podcast.
That's whatever. RTFC is just generic for any card game. But Gigi No Re, I've never heard anyone other than you say it. So.
Is it big? Like, is it a...
I don't know, but I'm not going to copy it.
Fucking...
I don't want to copy that because I don't want issues down the road. So...
If we somehow get big, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me clear up. Here you go.
So, I have some ideas, though. Because it has to be... I wanted to... Instead of just taking card game terms, RTFC... Clock and Draw. There's already one called Ninth Climax. I mean, we looked at those, and I was like, we need to actually try to make it a little more towards us. Like, as far as, even if it was just an inside joke.
True Hero.
That's what I'm saying, True Hero. I thought True Hero podcast or the podcast of the True Heroes. Stuff like that. True Hero was a big one for that. That was kind of something I was just kind of throwing so many different variations of. I don't know.
Let me go back and see if I can bring up the history of our conversation.
Was that on Skype or was that
on Facebook?
That was on Facebook. Okay, go ahead.
So I'm going to just start scrolling back through this.
I don't think about
because it's been like a week.
Did you make any recommendations? Because I couldn't remember if
Tabletop Tricks.
He did say Tabletop Tricks. Yeah. For real, that site's really good. Honestly, if I get music for something of that nature, I'm thinking just grab it from there, because it's like over 100 videos of just royalty-free stuff. Thought that was really nice. I don't even know how far back we'd have to go. I would help you, but we're using my phone. So, yeah.
Alright, here we go. Here are some of the better ones.
Turn it down a little bit. Well, it's not even picking it up that much.
So... original idea for me was the Take Two podcast.
The Take Two.
Mm-hmm.
Take Two, like, is in, like,
well,
second try?
We scrapped this one. Let's try again.
Okay.
Plan B was Clock for Two.
Plan B.
Clock for Two.
No, that's actually the name of something else.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But
that's also a joke to Mega Man Battle Network. If you ever get to play Battle Network 3 specifically, probably the best one in the Battle Network series, there's one of the bosses you have to fight is Kingman, in which his has a little annoying ass move called Plan B, in which time freeze. Take first 3 rows of your area, move pawns in the front of it, and they just start slashing. It is aggravating.
Let's see, you had Clock and Draw, Compass Wrecked.
Compass Wrecked. That was another one I wanted to do, because you remember when I played Compass and milled 3 climaxes?
Yeah.
Matt Brower said Team Compass fuck. I didn't want to just say, here's the Compass fuck podcast kind of thing. So it's like Compass Wrecked, R-E-K-T.
Let's see. then we went to, well, what about the Level 4 podcast? Kind of a play on, well, there is no Level 4 for this game.
The Death Podcast. I mean, what?
Yeah, that's not a thing we can use either.
That was taken as well.
Oh, that's nice.
So I believe we went to, the last idea we had was the TBD podcast.
To be determined podcast. But see, then here's the thing. It almost works out. Because T, Tim, B, Billy, D, the problem is your name's K. What's your middle name?
William.
Damn it, we can't even use that.
Then Schmidt. To be scheduled.
Let's see, do we have any other good ones?
Wait. We have T, B, and K. Isn't there like a group called KBT?
Yeah.
Where they all
You're
still-
talking about, like, Russia Special
That's
Forces.
what I'm
or something.
saying.
That
We
was
can't
a
use that.
KBG.
That's KBG. Okay, we can't
KG.
use that either.
KGB.
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 My bad. We're not gonna be special ops.
Yeah, that's like
That's
Spec Ops.
espionage and all that stuff. I don't want to deal with death.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
Harry-
not,
I like life.
If Harry ever sends us undercover to other game shops to scope out the competition, might have to be labeled as that.
we've never done that. Don't call it like that. We've never done
We
that.
don't live that life, man. What are you doing?
You don't know. Anyway, Harry who? I'm just kidding.
Who? What? Okay.
Just gonna go yeah.
I think True Hero is the way to go. True Heroes.
Some variation of True Heroes kind of thing. Because I said the True Hero podcast of the True Heroes. What else?
I don't know.
Okay, just because this is a background thing and we're recording it anyway. True Hero.
PTTH. Podcast of the True Heroes.
There's
Ah.
a True Hero podcast.
What?
What?
No.
Yeah.
Lies.
I googled it. It showed up.
Podcast of the True Heroes?
True Hero podcast. First result.
How? Wait, no, it's a Bible podcast. It's not related to card games.
Yeah, but do you really want those kind of people coming
This
together
is
and seeing what
religion.
we do?
This is religious anyway. We play this card game religiously every Sunday to be precise.
Yes, well, we could be
Bruh,
good little
I'm
lambs
like
and
a-
be in church.
Fuck that shit.
Exactly.
I like this idea, though. The True
The
Heroes.
flaming hate that we will receive.
Actually, that's the thing. I mean, you gotta think. Other stuff has been specific. RTFC, Clock and Draw. It's been specific stuff.
The Nico Nee podcast.
Is that a
honestly
thing?
would do that now. Fuck. Oh, what if it is? This would be so ridiculous.
I want to know if this is a thing.
Yeah.
Beam.
Beam me up, Scotty.
I don't see nothing.
Well, no, that might be that
I
could
don't
be
wanna-
misconstrued for the
Even though the
Love
thing
Live
would basic,
podcast or
that's
something.
it still essentially would be that is it would be pertaining to Nico
Yeah.
because that's what the True Hero is based off of was the deck that you and Andrew made for Nico from Love Live,
Yes.
and it just evolved from there. And
Now she's
that
in
deck
sexual-
plays better than any deck you've ever made.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
Sorry,
So I think Nico Nee. I could get behind that.
I mean that's just our battle cry kind of thing.
The Nico and Friends podcast.
Nico and friends. That's the thing. I'm partial
It's True
to
Hero
mine.
Nico.
I still would just we still should just try play off the True Hero, and we can. I mean, shoot, we can. Our intro could just be all of us just going Nico, Nico, Nee at the same time.
Good
Nico
luck
Nico
with that.
no.
Nico, Nico, stop that! Whatever. It's however you want to do. So, that's the other thing. As I was going to go to the think about how we do in card ruling, specifically because of how Weiss is. If there's a slight variation of it, say a Matsukaze searches for Shimakaze, I can't grab Shimakaze Kai off of it because it has Kai and it's not the original. So Bushiroad is set up anyway that it is specific name, if it says search this specific name, even though there's a slight variation on another card, you can't get it.
Right.
So simply saying the True Hero Podcast, we add the. That one just says True Hero Podcast. We good.
You say that.
It said True. I thought it just said True Hero Podcast.
Well, here's the thing. There's a True Hero Podcast, and then there is a Paul the True Hero Podcast.
Well, we're not putting Paul in the name.
I know, but
There's also no Paul among
you gotta
us.
realize that
Hero
people
isn't
are
allowed.
stupid.
Of course.
And they'll just see, oh, it's the True Hero Podcast. Which one is it?
Okay.
So, you gotta think. People
True
are-
Hero
Heroes.
Nico.
Okay. How much you liking that one? Please send me the link for that. Much appreciated.
Eh. It's not like we have to figure it out today.
Yeah.
So, even if this goes nowhere, I mean...
Yeah. Build upon that, though, as far as around that. Or is there another, like, in-joke that I'm forgetting that we have with the group? Oh, shit, Billy summoning Titans.
That's too long.
Over the wall?
Over the wall.
Break the Wall podcast? Because every time I play that, y'all are like, all right, Billy's playing Titans. Y'all need to
Get your shit together.
get your shit together right now. You have 0.5 seconds, you know.
There is no Over the Wall podcast.
Over the
Bruh.
wall or break the wall? Over the wall. It'd be over, like a play on over the top. That's really good, actually. Okay, what other in-jokes do we have?
That's also not taken, so...
Ooh,
We have...
I'm
both
liking
of those
this.
open.
We can go with this.
What's that?
Over the wall or break the wall.
That's what I'm saying. That's options. Really good options.
Well, I want to do it so when we do the other one, we can say, hey guys,
The wall of the true hero. I don't know. I'm just
Wall hero.
wall hero. No.
Like wall over. So,
What up? Oh,
Yep.
hey Andrew, what's up?
no, podcast.
Pre-podcast
podcast. We're trying to determine a name.
Pre-podcast trying to determine a name.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
We haven't got a name for the actual podcast yet.
3 guys in a blue room. Well, 4 guys in a
3
blue
little
room.
bitches.
We're not bringing in Yu-Gi-Oh people to this.
Well,
I mean, the MTT
technically,
people
we
are out
are
there.
both former Yu-Gi-Oh people, so...
He specifically said 3. We are only 2. But yeah,
Carl
it's
used to
whatever.
play Yu-Gi-Oh. Then again, so did I.
Okay. Gonna have to cut that one off because that's copyright.
Yeah, I was like, how did he go here?
My apologies. We thought about naming it pertaining to Nico with the True Hero podcast. Since people hate Titans, Over the Wall podcast, stuff like that.
Over the Titan wall.
Just something like that. What other we're trying to think of something based off of an in joke within the group of people that show up for this. What else what other in jokes are there?
Man, what's the podcast gonna be about?
Vice. Right
Random
now, Vice,
crap.
Weiss Schwarz.
Weeb Schwartz.
Weeb Schwartz.
I mean, it is WEIB.
Damn, he's got a point. I mean,
I like break the wall though.
break the wall or over the wall kind of thing. I like that though. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I hadn't considered that. Check it just to be safe. Weeb Schwartz podcast. Well, it's gonna be Vice. It's gonna be random stuff. It's gonna be other card games in general. Predominantly Weiss Schwarz, but we're gonna build upon it as it goes. Elefante.
There's a podcast for that.
Okay, sadly no, but thank you anyway.
Yes, that's the fucking podcast. So I think break the wall or over
Or
the
breaking, like break or breaking the wall.
wall. Break the wall.
Andrew pulled another goddamn sign.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also that.
I like that one. Cancel, of course. How is that?
It's copyright free.
Are you sure? I mean, it played freaking Maroon 5. And it tried to say free for that. That's a goddamn lie. We even tried to think of you know how Kyle says GG no re? There's already a podcast for that.
Well, here's the thing. We would have to spell out the Break the Wall because there's a BTW podcast already. So we can't do the initials.
That's fine.
Blue Ox 2 to search for more subscribers.
I wouldn't, no.
And to search for actual in-stock cards.
Yeah, ain't that the damn truth. Not in stock podcast.
I should check that one.
I wouldn't mind doing it pertaining to Blue Ox, but I don't honestly.
Well, you would need Harry's permission to use.
That's the thing. It would be much more limiting. Because
Yeah.
this we are free reign over what the hell ever we decide. If we do it pertaining to Blue Ox, I don't mind getting like, hey, shout out, thanks to Blue Ox.
Adults playing children's card games.
Yeah. There's
I see.
non-stock podcast is not a thing.
Was
So that's
White
actually
and nerdy.
doable.
what?
White and nerdy.
Okay, what do you say about
Not in
Out of-
stock podcast.
not in stock podcast? Is that a thing?
No. There's a bunch of stock investment podcasts
Stock
that come up.
investment? Not in stock.
But
Out or
Stocks Trading University podcast.
Try out of stock podcast. Try out of stock.
Because if so, break the wall or out of stock.
That'll probably be a thing.
OOTOS.
I don't see any of that either.
Okay.
So
It's options.
let's just change it every week.
Fuck it.
Just what?
Just say fuck it. Just
Change
welcome
it
to
every
the Breaking the Wall podcast, or just welcome to the Out of Stock podcast. We'll just change it based on the event of the day, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
like how Rooster Teeth does with theirs, they change.
It's the
It's
RT
still the
podcast,
RT,
but it's
Every week you have a different title.
it's like
Yeah, that's
the
fine.
Yuki Yuki podcast today.
Like, we just need our base title.
Dank Dex.
Deck Dex.
Dex out for Harambe.
No.
Dank meme pod.
That's taken.
Dank
I can
meme.
already tell you that now.
Not if he flubs it like that.
Dank meme. Yeah. I flubbed it.
I threw up a face down.
You threw up a face down. What?
So if anyone's still listening to this, welcome to the episode 0 of this whatever podcast.
Yeah, episode 0.
If this even airs.
If this even ever airs, yeah.
Patient 0.
That's the thing. We can also just record random shenanigans of this on another time.
But base name.
Base. Good point. It's
Base damage?
base damage. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I'm just throwing shit
ED.
out and seeing what sticks.
I could probably take it a very wrong way, but
See what sticks podcast because I don't know. Yeah. There's already like +2 soul. There's a +2 soul YouTube group.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
is that taken or?
I don't see anything.
Climax trigger.
So that's possibly available.
There you go, base damage, and then we change whatever it is. Like, we just changed the title.
Base damage 5k. Base damage 8.5.
3k and a soul.
Actually, that ain't a bad idea. We could just do like base damage
And then whatever
1,
it's-
and just do like the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can just change it based on the number.
No cost. I was thinking on those lines as far as like something on the card itself.
Yeah.
The no cost podcast. We're not charging for anything, and it's just
Encore step.
Hopes and dreams.
wrong card game podcast. I don't know because we say grade 3s for our level 3s, and drop zone for waiting room, and graveyard for hand advantage, and I don't know other stuff. Just whatever. Brain.
Aunt Jemima's breakfast extravaganza.
Do yourself a damage to play pot of greed.
I'm being a dick. Watch my own video. Get this views up.
I mean, who's to say that everyone else doesn't?
I'll see y'all next week. I have to go.
All right, man. Take care.
Take it easy.
How'd you do today?
Huh? I got 2-1-1, so I got 3 packs.
Ain't bad.
I was 2-1, and me and Harry had to play each other last. And he's like, "You want to draw? Sure."
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Push it.
Yeah, push. All right, man. See you later.
See you, bud.
Bop it.
Bop it.
Twist
it. Climax phase.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm down for basic. What is it?
Base damage.
Base damage.
Base damage?
Yeah.
Because that's actually an interesting way of doing like the podcast number as well. Like base damage of 1, base damage of 2, all the way up through however many podcasts this thing goes to.
Okay, I'm liking this so far. Okay.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Base damage.
Base damage.
You said that wasn't.
I don't see anything like base damage podcast wise.
Someone take this. Warning, it's not actually aerodynamic.
Well, it fell apart.
Those things are so flimsy.
Yeah, it's whatever. Thank you.
Throw it at 10th.
You summon your Quillport.
Yeah, MTG now has Cleaforts. If you don't know what that is, never play Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm not gonna.
Anyway.
Oh, actually, I heard that Monolith is going up to like $80.
Oh my shit.
Anyway, base damage.
Base damage, I'm liking that, and we work on it from there. That's actually really cool.
Base damage until we determine we can't use it.
Mm-hmm. Like it.
Sounds good enough reason to start there, right?
Actually, yeah.
Should we do base damage or the base damage?
The base damage.
Yeah, let's just do base damage.
Base damage.
I saw
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts. Sorry. Yeah, I'm down for base.
What Kingdom Hearts?
I saw a thing on the I saw a thing right here. Kingdom Hearts. That's what it was. Anyway, yes.
Simple and
base
clean.
damage.
At least the damn third game already.
Hey, they
Hey, putting them Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy things together. 10-2, simple and clean.
Yeah.
What was it was 10-1, Hopes and Dreams.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, this is
Where's
like at over 20 minutes, so let's.
Good enough.
That's good enough for a pre-podcast.
All right, well, let's go from there. Thank you for listening, if you're still listening whatsoever.
And if we get famous one day and this is just a thing,
drop it and see how it does. So,
Yeah.
all right.
We will scrub this off the internet.
One other quick question just before we end this.
Yep.
Do we post on YouTube or SoundCloud?
Both. I think we should do both. That way we can get maximum amount of people.
That's y'all's choice.
He don't care.
We'll figure
I
something
have
out.
no preference. I have a YouTube page. I do nothing with it but use it to.
If we do YouTube, we're
talk
gonna have to
and
make
chat.
a different YouTube page. It's gonna be a different account, and since you're gonna have the audio files, that's gonna be all on you.
That's fine.
So we can just come up with basic design for the channel. I can help you with that.
That's fine. I don't mind when we make it. I can just throw the account information at you, and
Then we just share it.
Just say, hey, I'm not logged. Are you logged in? You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say both. That way we can get maximum amount of people.
Beetle. The Flubbing Podcast.
That's the Flubbing Podcast. Beetle. We need all the people.
IR do words good.
I do goods.
Do goods. Okay, now we're gonna end it. So peace out.
Bye.
Thanks for sticking around for
Yes,
this long.
thanks.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.